Okay, my name is David Larson. My current farm name is Viking Fold, formerly Five Star Farm, and bought my first pair of heifers in 1992. I saw the bovines out in the field, and I was stunned. I stopped and I looked and I thought, that's the most gorgeous bovine I've ever seen in my life. I was just taken instantly. I had raised some cattle before that, and I just kind of made up my mind that that's the breed I really wanted. Then I started to research the breed and found all these fine qualities that they possess. And also I lived in an area that had super, bad winters, lots of snow and cold, and I thought, they look like they're ideally suited for this, and they are. So I had a lot of reasons, I was really in tune with the beef that, you people are producing. I was so excited about the beef, and all I would do for years before I even owned Highlands was talk to people about Highland beef. And I was so excited. I think I had like 2 tons of beef sold, but I didn't even have it, but I had people waiting, right? My goal actually has always been, they say there's no such thing as a perfect cow, and that's true. But I can try, right? I think the purebred registered breeding stock has really been the goal, and high quality breeding stock. The first 2 Highlands that I started with, I just bought the first 2 I could, and they had their deficits, and I thought, well, okay, we can breed that out and improve on that. And ever since, it's just been about breeding and improving, what we had, the genetics we had. I love to study genetics. I like mixing and matching genetics. Most of the genetics, are proven. And it's a great way, when you study genetics, it's a great way to improve your animals, especially with some of these, cows or bulls that have highly heritable traits. We were able to improve rather quickly on the first 2. So bovines are bovines, and we've had all manner of experiences with ours over the years, and I laughed. I got a good laugh one time. Jacob had his own little, my son Jacob had his own little heifer. He pampered that heifer. He was out in the field with her all the time, and they were like best buds. And one day for whatever reason, Jacob was just kind of bent over the water trough. I don't know what he was doing, and that heifer was standing behind him, and she just lowered her head and went and bumped him right into the trough. He came up soaking wet, sputtering, and I laughed. That was the funniest thing. Anyway, we have lots of really good memories. It's the character of the breed. In my opinion, they're very personable animals, and every one of them has a little different personality. New breeders, they have lots of questions, good questions, and so sometimes I just simplify and tell people, study genetics. When you see animals you really like, look into their background. See how they're made up genetically. Animals here at this national show that win consistently, like maybe the first time you lay eyes on them, they're just a weaned calf, and then you follow them and they win consistently because they're winning animals. I look into their genetic makeup. And the reason I do that is because you can now take a shortcut, if you will, in your breeding program by seeking those genetics. Some of those genetics come from way back, like the Gus Gerlachs and whatever. But the genetics are available today, even though the animals are long gone, And Gus Gerlach daughters, who doesn't like that, So seek those genetics out. Infuse them into your herd, and try to make a positive difference in your breeding program in a hurry, really. Early on, we didn't really understand the concept of ruthlessly culling. we were younger and naive, and and we hadn't yet been educated. Knowing what I know now, I think I would have culled a lot more ruthlessly. Nowadays, I have no problem, keeping 1 out of 100 bulls intact. I'll steer the rest of them, and it's really important, I think, to just strive to only keep the very, very best, And then early on, when we began and we noticed improvements in our herd, when we got an exceptional female, we hung on to that. Those are the ones people like to sell naturally, but we hung on to them. And despite people making amazing financial offers to us, we're like, nah, this is really what we're after, and we want to perpetuate that. So hang on to the very best of the best, sell the rest or cull them. I'm a more of a naturalist. I love the pure breeding in the animals, for starters, and I guess my goal would be to get everybody somewhat like-minded in protecting the integrity of the breed. It's a wonderful opportunity to be involved with a pure breed, for starters. And I know the value of crossbreeding and all that, and but there's been a lot of changes over the years that I've seen, and whether I agree with them or not doesn't really matter, but just, to have, a healthy amount of genetics in the United States of the purebred Highlands, I don't know, that would be kind of what I'd be hopeful. People would be mindful, just, I don't know. There's other things I'm hopeful for. I've always been hopeful that we would get more money for our cattle when we sold them. The sale this year was really, really nice. That was refreshing to see the females selling for a good price. Because they're valuable animals. They really are. And I just want the world to recognize the value. You might have a cow that's an excellent producer, but every other calf you have to help her, assist her in calving. Yeah, it happens even with the Highlands. I know we tout the ease of calving, which is true. When you're having 70-pound calves, that's 50 to 70-pound calves. That's pretty good. But there's occasionally, and there's other, I guess deficits, we'll just call them deficits, that you might notice, and yet you will continue to perpetuate those genetics. And so as a responsible breeder, I would probably, again, comes back to ruthlessly culling, I'd probably discontinue those bloodlines just based on the fact that, there's an issue here that, the buck stops here with me, right? So, but there's going to be a lot of newbies that they pretty much know that every calf hits the ground is gold plated, right? Or like you said, they're registered. That's meaningful,
It's a pretty color.
Yeah. Oh man, don't even get me going on that. I love all the colors. I have my favorite, but I have never been a color breeder. Never. Over the years, I had one bloodline that excellent producer, but they had a lot of crop ear, and that's hotly debated. Ultimately, I came to grips with my own opinion of crop ear. Although visually I can't stand it, it had very little to do with the actual growth, the overall package. It was just a small part of the overall package that I found disagreeable. But the rest of the animal is phenomenal. So I hung on to that particular bloodline and produced some really, really nice animals, but have a breeding program. You have reproducers and you have breeders, and the breeders have a breeding program, and it's a whole lot more calculated, and the results are almost predictable, and but yeah, for heaven's sake, do not breed for color or any other, a beautiful head on a cow, I like that, but yeah. They've got to it's got to be a complete package, it really does, so.